Behind them was the man holding a crossbow at the ready. Soichi saw those one after another. Come on, run! Right! Now he fully grasped the situation, Soichi nodded and broke off into a run, without a moment's delay. I'll be damned. That's a pretty nice teamwork they've got going there. Yoshimitsu Tezuka chuckled as he clumsily yet steadily loaded his next arrow into his crossbow. See, the handcuffed boy and girl. Tezuka decided to go after him once he found that crossbow a short while ago. His reasoning was simple. For one thing, the handcuffs made it difficult for him to move. And if he took down one of them, that would stop the other dead in their tracks. In other words, because they were easy pickings. Perfect targets for his new crossbow. And here I thought I'd hit a stroke of luck when I found those guys here after I came to check out the noise. But I guess that was as far as it went. Tezuka had been wandering nearby when he heard that metallic crash. Come over and found that was the sound of the shutter that almost crushed Soichi and Reika. In other words, the sound of the fireproof shutter had drawn Tezuka right towards them. Oh well, I'll just get him the next shot. Won't be so hard now that I figure out how to use this baby. Tezuka finished reloading his crossbow. The only reason Soichi and Reika had evaded him was because he wasn't used to the crossbow yet. If he had, then one of them would probably have an arrow in them right now. Either way, they can't get far. Tezuka chuckled as he held the crossbow at the ready and adjusted the sight. Now what do you two do? I'm feeling pretty lucky myself, you know? Tezuka laughed when he looked down the hallway Soichi and Reika retreated down. He gave an amused smile, chilling enough to send shivers down anyone's spine. He's not coming after us. Soichi panted. Soichi stifled his panting as he looked around the corner. He was checking to make sure that the man wasn't chasing them. Fortunately, there was no sign that he'd given chase. Even when he strained his ears, Soichi didn't hear him. No one was coming after them. All I could hear was Reika's own breathing. Soichi kept an eye on the hallway for a little while longer, but a few minutes later, Reika turned back towards him. I'm sorry, he turned back towards Reika. I think we're okay. Looks like we shook him off. I see. Then we can rest easy for a little while. Reika took a deep breath once Soichi told her that. She seemed to be relieved. Thank you, Reika. You really saved me. Soichi bowed his head when he remembered how Reika had pushed him to the floor to protect him. Then he gave a small smile. She acted to protect him back then. Couldn't help but feel a little happy that she'd done that.
当たり前でしょ。お前が動けなきゃ私も動けなくなるんだから。それにその前に私が助けてもらってるんだから貸し借りなしよ。
Of course I did. If you stopped moving, I would have been a sitting duck too. And besides, since you saved me before that, I didn't want to be in your debt, that's all. Reika sounded a bit flustered as she rattled on. Is she embarrassed? Soichi dismissed that thought as soon as it come. Yeah, right. Reika? Embarrassed? Please. She doesn't even trust me.
あんまりのんびりもしていられないわ。逃げ切れたとはいえ、あいつが偶然ここに来ることだってあるわ。もう少し移動しましょう。
We can't just sit around. We may be shaking him off, but he might find us if we stick around too long. Let's get moving. Reika moved away from the wall she'd been leaning against. Then she started walking as if avoiding trying to look at Soichi. The chain in the handcuffs stretched out and jingled. Yeah, you're right. I can't keep calm knowing that guy might not be too far from us. Didn't take too long for Soichi to walk over to Reika's side. What's wrong with me? Reika couldn't believe that she was starting to trust Soichi. Her body had moved on its own when the man had fired that arrow. There had been no self-interest or obligation involved. She had simply protected Soichi as though it were second nature. No, Reika, you can't. No matter how insincere he may seem, he could stab you in the back at any minute. Reika repeated those words in her mind like a mantra to revive her waning wariness. Say, Reika, do you have a second?
Hi.
Yes. Since he interrupted her in the middle of such thoughts, Reika's voice came out a bit higher than usual. Well, I've been thinking, what if we tried this? And then then Soichi took Reika's right hand to his left. Since those were the hands that were cuffed. So when they did that, the chain dangled downwards, bending into a U shape. His hand is so warm. Before Reika could even ask Soichi what he was up to, the warmth of his hand surged through her body and flooded into her mind. It's strange, but when I'm holding his hand like this way, we won't hurt our wrists tugging on the handcuffs. Reika? Reika was lost staring off into space when all of a sudden, Soichi's face popped up right in front of her.
Mitsurugi.
Panicking, Reika gripped Soichi's hand with all her might. Are you okay, Reika? Something hurt?
大丈夫。そんなことはないわ。
No, I'm fine. Nothing wrong. Oh, good. Soichi hadn't noticed just how disconcerted Reika was. Reika took a short but deep breath to allow herself to compose herself a little. I know you're not supposed to hold a girl's hand so casually, but this is an emergency. Your wrist is really hurting, right? Yes. Seriously, what is wrong with me? Reika was utterly bewildered. She'd been completely disgusted when Urashiyama had grabbed her arm. Yet the sensation of Soichi's hand wrapped around her own didn't feel unpleasant even in the slightest. Oops, I missed a line. It was proof that she was laying her guard down to him. But the realization of that had left Reika deeply bewildered. But those feelings were nipped in the bud by Soichi's following comment. Besides, if we kept tugging at each other's handcuffs, I feel like it'll only be a matter of time before we cut our wrists off. Cut our wrists off? Those words sent a shiver down Reika's spine. Yes, of course. That's the answer. Soichi probably hadn't said as anything more than a casual comment. Maybe it was even just a joke to him. But it had given Reika an idea. In theory, she was free to sever Soichi's wrist, even if it meant killing him. Reika's heartbeat accelerated. Her blood pressure swelled so high she could hear her blood pounding in her ears. First, she knocked Soichi out with the stun gun. He wouldn't be able to dodge from this distance. This angle. She'd be able to knock him out without a hitch. After that, it was simply a matter of stealing his knife, stabbing him to death, and then severing his wrist. Then Reika would be free. Then she wouldn't have to worry about getting backstabbed. Reika's gaze shifted to the combat knife hanging below Soichi's waist. If I do that, then stabbing him, killing him, and severing his wrist will be a piece of cake. Her palms dampened with sweat. Nervous sweat. Besides, even Mitsurugi could do the same to me if I don't get the drop on him. If Reika was capable of pulling off a plan like that to get free, then so was Soichi. Meaning that as long as they were bound by those handcuffs, Reika had no reason to believe she'd be safe even if she trusted Soichi. Killing him? Someone who risked his life to protect me? Someone I myself protected? Or maybe that was all a ploy just to gain my trust. He might be putting it out on an axe so he can use me. In that case, I have to kill him before he can betray me first. Even so, killing him? The owner of this warm hand? Will that really make me safe? Will that really be for the best? Logic and emotions waged war in Reika's heart. Up until now, she needed to protect... Hold on a second. Up until now, she needed to protect Soichi so she could protect herself. She needed to work together with him. But things were different now. Now she didn't need to protect him. Now she didn't need to work with him. If Soichi fell on death's door, she would have no qualms about letting him die. Because even if he did die, she could still survive. And of course, the opposite held true as well. In Reika's eyes, it appeared that Soichi had been helping her up until now because of the handcuffs. But maybe he had an ulterior motive in his mind from the start. Perhaps by handcuffing her, he planned to use her for his own ends as much as possible, then sever her wrists and cast her off once she served her purpose. Was that his aim? Reika, are you sure you're okay? Soichi's face crossed into Reika's line of sight yet again.
大丈夫大丈夫だから
Yeah, I'm fine. Reika realized that the unrest she was feeling had stemmed from the revelation that she was beginning to trust Soichi. But in the end, Soichi never caught on to that. Saving here. Okay. Alright, here we go. Damn it, Nagasawa's for this game too? I can't believe it. Soichi clicked his tongue as he ran.
ちょっと待ちなよミスルギの兄ちゃん俺のために死んでくれるだけでいいんだからさ
Wait up for me, Mitsurugi. All you have to do is die for me. Soichi dragged Reika by her hand as they ran for their lives. Nagasawa was 2 meters behind them in pursuit. No, Nagasawa was about a dozen meters behind them in pursuit. He was wielding a machete.
三剣撃ちなさい
Shoot him, Mitsurugi. But
今撃たなきゃいつ撃つっていうのこのままじゃ追いつかれるわ
if you don't shoot him now, then when? He's gonna catch up with us right now if we don't do something. Alright. Soichi and Reika had come across Nagasawa in the large hall. At first, Soichi had been happy to see a familiar face, but that joy faded as soon as he saw the machete in Nagasawa's hand. Once he noticed Soichi and Reika were bound by handcuffs, Nagasawa would come charging after him with his blade. He's just a middle schooler. I hope I don't hit him. Though he didn't want to, Soichi drew his revolver and pointed it behind him. I'm gonna shoot. Reluctantly, Soichi placed his hand on the trigger. He could only hope he'd miss and scare Nagasawa off. The odds of a novice like him hitting his target while running and pointing his gun behind him with only one hand without aiming are quite low. Even if he were aiming, he clearly wasn't in a situation where he could hit his opponent, but Soichi was such a novice they didn't even know that. Pulled the trigger. The fierce recoil of the gun jolted through his hand. This was the second time willingly firing a gun. Soichi had a feeling he never get used to that sensation. Phew, I missed. The bullet traveled down the hallway with a thunderous roar. It didn't even graze Nagasawa.
本物なのか
Things for real? But fortunately, Nagasawa halted in his tracks. The gunshot served quite well as a deterrent, it seemed.
卑怯だぞ兄ちゃんたちだけ
You cheating bastards, you cowards! Soichi and Rei kept dashing down the hallway at top speed. They kept going as fast as they could as Nagasawa yelled behind them. Soichi and Reika fled down the hallway to escape Nagasawa. They kept rounding corners to shake him off until all of a sudden, a familiar alarm rang from Reika's bag. When they were passing from a door.
何なの
What's going on? Reika took out her PDA as she ran. Her expression changed as soon as she saw what was on the screen.
三剣
What is it? Reika quickly thrust her PDA screen at Soichi.
戦闘禁止エリアよこのドアの向こうがそうらしいわ
There's a non-combat area right here. It's right through this door. Reika stopped and pointed at the door that just passed. Non-combat area? And that means
長沢が追ってきても攻撃できないわ
Nagasawa won't be able to attack us even if he comes after us. Soichi wasted no time swinging the door open, his other hand still wrapped tightly around Reika's wrist. Reika!
ええ
Right. And so they rushed into the room. They've been running around for so long that the two of them couldn't breathe for a little while. They leaned against the wall and caught their breath.
どうやら追ってきてはいないようね
It doesn't look like he's chasing us. Reika looked back at the door when she caught her breath. Yeah, it looks that way. Soichi was quick to look as well. There were no signs of the door opening. Nagasawa would probably stop chasing Soichi and Reika before they even made it here. Non-combat area, huh? The room you have entered has been designated a non-combat area. Acts of combat are forbidden within this room. Those who fail to upheed this rule will be penalized without exception. That was the message that had been on Reika's PDA. If it was true, then that meant they'd be, safe from Nagasawa, even if he came after them. If he attacked, then his collar would, activate and he'd die just like that girl had.
とりあえずは一安心
Looks like we're safe for now. Reika plopped to the floor with those words. Yeah. Soichi also sat down. The two of them were beyond exhausted. They'd spent the whole day walking around, following the traps, and getting attacked and chased. They were at the end of their ropes, physically and mentally. So this is a non-combat area. Now that they could take a breather, Soichi turned his attention to his surroundings for the first time. It was hell to move his body at this point, so it was more or less all he could do for the present. The room looked like a studio apartment. A full table set, sofas for relaxing, and even a kitchen. Furthermore, there are several other furnishments even deeper in the room. This would have been perfect if it only had beds. Honestly, Soichi just wanted to flop on a bed and sleep like a log. This is the only clean place I've seen here. The biggest difference between this and the other rooms was that this one had been tended to. The other rooms were covered in dust all over, but this was an exception. The furniture was brand new and the floor was spotless. Aside from the filth that Soichi and Rega had dragged in with them. I see now. So this is what a non-combat area truly is, huh? It was a place of sanctuary from all the fighting outside, where weary souls could rest without having to worry about being attacked. It was for that same reason why the room was clean. Soichi came to that conclusion as he finished looking around the room. Hey, Reika, about that food we found earlier. But just as Soichi was saying that, he noticed it. Reika had fallen into a peaceful slumber, sleeping right next to him. She's asleep, huh? Well, I guess it's only natural. She probably has less stamina than I do. And even I feel like I'm about to pass out. Soichi stifled a yawn as he continued to watch over Reika's face as she slept. A tiny breath passed through her lips. Her face was peaceful as she slept, lacking even a trace of the tension it usually had. Even her face is pretty. Up until now, Reika had been the picture-perfect definition of cool and composed to Soichi, aided by her seniority. But now he didn't have that impression of her at all. All he saw was an ordinary girl one could find anywhere. Well, maybe the word girl isn't appropriate. She is older than me, after all. Soichi let out a wry chuckle as he watched Reika's face. Just then, Reika's body leaned towards Soichi. And so her head ended up resting on his shoulder. Reika? But Reika remained sleeping. It seemed she was out cold. As he watched her, a thought came to Soichi. On second thought, maybe girl is fitting after all. Though he knew this wasn't the case at all, seeing Reika relying on him in a sense made Soichi a bit happy. Reika found herself cradled in warmth, a sensation that made her want to entrust everything to the comforting presence. In her slumber, Reika drifted in a brilliant radiance. What was I even doing? She couldn't remember. Was I with someone? Many images bubbled to the surface of her mind all at once, but most of them were too hazy to recall clearly. However, one of them was clear as day. It was of a person, the one whose warmth engulfed her. At that moment, Reika's mind jolted back out of slumber. Scenery through her faintly opened eyes assaulted her senses with that abrupt awakening. She noticed one thing after another. A room. A clean room. Non-combat area. The game. The rules. The handcuffs. Soichi Mitsurugi. Friend or foe? Shit, I fell asleep. That thought fully aroused Reika from her slumber and brought her attention back to her current plight. How could you let yourself fall asleep at a time like this? This would be the perfect opportunity for Mitsurugi to pull something. Her eyes widened. All sense of drowsiness had completely blown away. Once the sense of regret over falling into such a deep sleep rushed over her, her heart weighed heavy with the anxiety of not knowing her current status. After all, Soichi could have taken her out of the non-combat area to kill her for all she knew. Reika? A voice too close. And the heat pressing against her face. What the hell am I doing? Are you awake? And so Reika finally realized that she'd been sleeping on Soichi's shoulder the whole time. Reika couldn't believe herself. To think I would not only leave myself sleeping so defenseless in front of someone I don't trust, but to be sleeping on them at that. Unaware of the emotions raging in Reika's heart, Soichi widened his mouth and yawned. Sorry, Reika, but do you mind taking the watch for a little bit? Soichi rubbed his eyes.
Mihari?
The watch? Reika desperately tried to conceal her unease in her voice as she asked. Yeah, I think I'm gonna last unless I get some sleep. But Soichi paid no heed to Reika's effort and shut his eyes on another word. Hey, wait a minute. Don't worry. I won't be too long. Please take care of the rest. Silence. Mitsurugi? To Reika's astonishment, Soichi really had just fallen asleep in the blink of an eye. She kept an eye on him for a while to make sure he really had just passed out. But perhaps convinced by the way he didn't budge in the slightest while breathing in the characteristic way of someone sleeping, Reika finally looked away and took out her PDA. Didn't take my PDA. Then Reika turned her PDA on. It made a light jingle as it came to life. So I've been asleep for 4 hours, huh? It had been over 4 hours since Reika had last checked the time. I was out for that long, yet Mitsurugi spent the whole time keeping watch? Reika watched Soichi slumbering away.
お前は私の敵？それとも味方？
Are you my enemy or my ally? Reika had slept for 4 hours, but nothing she'd feared had come to pass in that time. Soichi had brought her no harm, and her PDA was intact. Is it because we're in a non-combat area? Because we're handcuffed? Is she trying to trick me? Or... Sleeping Soichi didn't reply. Now would be the perfect time to kill him and get these handcuffs.
いえ、無理ね。私には彼を起こさずにこの部屋から連れ出すことはできないし。
No, that won't work. I can't take him out of the room without waking him up. Soichi likely would have been capable of carrying Reika outside without disrupting her slumber. But if she was physically weaker than him, Reika would never be able to pull off a stunt like that. Dragging him off would be the most she could do. But Soichi would definitely wake up if I tried that.
仕方ない。ルールだもの。
Can't be helped. That's the rules for you. Reika said that as she reached her hand out to Soichi's face.
信用していないし、殺さないといけないけど、戦闘禁止エリアだもの。それに、私の力じゃ静かに運び出せやしないし。
I don't trust him, and I have to kill him, but this is a non-combat area. Besides, given my strength, I don't think I could bring him out of here without waking him up. Then she touched him on the cheek.
信用したわけじゃないんだから。
It's not like I trust him, but... She couldn't get him out of here without waking him up. That was her excuse. Soichi was sleeping so soundly that in truth, he might not wake up so easily. When Reika touched his cheek, Soichi's face twisted slightly as if he were being tickled. When she realized what she'd been doing, Reika quickly darted her hand back.
敵よ。こいつは敵なのよ。仕方なく一緒にいるだけなんだから。気を許してはダメ。
He's an enemy. An enemy. You're only with him because you have no other choice. You can't let your guard down. Reika desperately tried to convince herself of that notion. A part of her wanted to trust Soichi. Another part of her couldn't trust him. Those two aspects of herself grappled within her. Reika just needed one decisive sign to make up her mind, but it had yet to appear before her.
私は
Reika was at a loss. Not feeling fair when she saw Soichi sleeping there so defenselessly. So Reika could do nothing more than look away and wait for him to wake up. It felt like an eternity to her. Okay, I'm gonna call it here for this time, guys. So yeah, as we can see, there's a lot of inner conflict with Reika over her desire to stay safe, but wanting to trust Soichi now, it seems. And Soichi's doing everything he can to try to both pacify Reika and try to avoid all the people trying to kill them, which there are a lot, with it seems there's quite a few number of now, and they've hit a bunch of traps, so yeah. And his PDA is still broken, so yeah, they're in quite the hot zone right now. And we'll have to see how it turns out. I'm going to plan to continue this tomorrow at the same time, 8 p.m. So you can see it again there. If anything pops up and I can't do that for some reason, I'll let you know. But until then, we'll see. I'll see you then. Farewell for now, and I apologize again for all the streaming issues. It's gonna make the archiving this a bit of a pain, but oh well.